are the knights dedicated to Christ and his Holy Mother. We are the Knights of St. Michael.
God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Before this moment of creation, there was no sun, no moon, no earth, no creatures, only God, living in perfect glory and happiness. But God wanted to share his love. So at the beginning of time, God created from nothing the invisible and visible universe, the billions of angels and the visible stars and planets, and the earth, and all that is on the earth, on land, in the air, or in the sea. Finally, God created the first man and woman. Between then and now, a lot has happened. The history of our changing world has been an eventful one. Without a doubt, one theme rings true over and over again. The awesome power of Almighty God has shaped our planet. The Bible relates stories of the creation of the universe, and Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. God caused a flood that destroyed the entire human race, except for Noah and his family. And centuries later, the power of God was evident when he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with the fire from heaven. And Moses was chosen by God to bring Israel out of slavery of Egypt. It was done with the mighty hand of God, through great plagues, signs, and wonders, even parting the Red Sea. God gave Moses the 10 Commandments by carving the stone tablets with fingers of fire on the top of Mount Sinai. For centuries, God spoke to his people through prophets and holy men, predicting a Savior, a promised King. And in the fullness of time, the same powerful God humbled himself to become a man like us. Come with the Knights as we discover the awesome power of God. The Knights are on now. It's nighttime.
Jesus is in the synagogue, reading and praying the ancient prayers of the Jews.
Bless the Lord, my soul. Lord, my God, how great thou art. Clothed in majesty and splendor, wearing the light as a robe, you stretch out the heavens like a tent. Build your palace on the waters above, making the clouds your chariot, gliding on the wings of the wind, appointing the winds your messengers, the flames of fire your servants. You fixed the earth on its foundations. Forever and ever it shall not be shaken. You covered it with the deep like a garment. In the ravines you opened up springs, running down between the mountains, supplying water for all the wild beasts. The wild asses quenched their thirst, and on their banks the birds of the air make their nests. They sing among the leaves. From your high halls you water the mountains, satisfying the earth with the fruit of your works. For cattle, you make the grass grow, and for people, the plants they need to bring forth food from the earth, and wine to cheer people's hearts, oil to make their faces glow, and food to make them sturdy of heart. You made the moon to mark the seasons, and the sun knows when to set. You bring on darkness and night falls, when all the forest beasts roam around. The young lions roar for their prey, asking God for their food. The sun rises, and away they steal back to their lairs to lie down. And man goes out to work, to labor till evening falls. How countless are your works, Lord, all of them made so wisely. The earth is full of your creatures. Then there is the sea, with its vast expanses teeming with countless creatures. Creatures both great and small. Their ships pass to and fro, and Leviathan, whom you made to sport with. They all depend upon you to feed them when they need it. You provide the food they gather. Your open hand gives them their fill. Turn away your face and they panic. Take back their breath and they die and revert to the dust. Send out your breath and life begins. You renew the face of the earth. Glory to the Lord forever. May the Lord find joy in his creatures. At his glance, the earth trembles. At his touch, the mountains pour forth smoke. I shall sing to the Lord all my life, make music for my God as long as I live. May my musings be pleasing to him, for he gives me joy. May sinners vanish from the earth, and the wicked exist no more. Bless the Lord, O my soul.
Hello and welcome to WARN World News. Reporting today from St. Michael's Tower, I'm Dan.
And I'm Mary. Our top story, man's pride is no match for God's power.
It starts right at the beginning, with the first two people on earth. Adam and Eve had a clear understanding of what God wanted them to do, and they wasted no time doing exactly the opposite. Our first parents disobeyed God and were exiled from the Garden of Eden. As a result, all of mankind has suffered the consequences of their pride. Pain, suffering, hardship, and death all came into the world because Adam and Eve committed this bold act of disobedience.
Not many pages later in the Bible is the history of Noah and the flood. God saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that the thoughts in his heart fashioned nothing but wickedness. God regretted having made man on earth, and his heart grieved. Yet Noah was a faithful man in this wicked generation, obedient to the laws of God. So the Father chose to save Noah, his family, and the animals from a flood that wiped out everything else on the planet.
Not long thereafter came the Tower of Babel, which was a tremendous monument built not for the worship and praise of God, but for the glory and pride of man. It was so offensive to God that he punished the people by confusing their language, so the people could no longer understand one another, and he scattered them throughout the earth.
After this, it did not take long until the outrages against God coming from Sodom and Gomorrah necessitated God's action. Because of their atrocious sin, God annihilated entire cities and the people who lived there. God rained fire and brimstone upon the cities until they were reduced to ashes. And all that remained when the cloud of smoke settled was the Dead Sea, the lowest place on earth, under which some archaeologists suggest may be their remains.
And let's not forget about Moses and the Pharaoh. The Egyptian hardened his heart to the will of the Father, bringing about devastating grief to the Egyptian people. Despite his best efforts, he could not stop Moses from freeing the Israelites. God opened the Red Sea so that his people could escape across it, then closed the waters, drowning Pharaoh's army.
Undoubtedly, you're familiar with the next story about Job, the Old Testament biblical figure who was blameless and upright. He feared God and he turned away from evil. He had great wealth and a large family, but he was the object of Satan's scorn, and Satan tested Job's fidelity to God. Within days, all Job's land and wealth were destroyed, and all of his children died. He found himself dying, and all his friends had turned against him.
Yet God showed his mighty power to Job, that Job may not question him. God's mighty voice thundered, asking questions such as, "Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Who determined its measurements? Who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together? Who shut in the sea with doors when it burst forth from the womb?"
We echo these words God spoke to Job. Shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer it. Will you even put God in the wrong? Will you condemn God that you may be justified? Have you an arm like God, and can you thunder with a voice like his?
God restored his faithful servant Job after admonishing him. Yet history makes it clear, man's pride and denial of the power of God can bring about devastating consequences. Signing off for WARN World News, I'm Dan.
And I'm Mary. You have been warned.
Hello and welcome to Time for Common Sense. Today, help me welcome director Sylvester Picone, creator of the award-winning documentary, I Believe in Me, in which he lays out his own unique thoughts of God and religion. Mr. Picone, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Well, let me start by saying one thing straight out, all right? It's the same thing I told the audiences at the Toronto Film Festival. I don't like labels, all right? I'm not Christian, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Muslim, I'm not atheist, I'm not a believer or an unbeliever. I'm on my own journey, call it spiritual or otherwise, it doesn't matter to me. But I'm my own man, making my own way in the world.
Let's start with the premise of your film in which you try to prove that there is no God.
Right, well, my entire work analyzes the concept that people have to believe in something.
Okay.
So they design some figure of greatness and they call it God. Christians call it Jesus, Muslims call it Allah, the New Agers call it the energy cosmos. Even atheists believe that science is the organizational force in the universe. The point is, they all believe in something. They just call it by different names.
So, are you saying that you do believe or that you don't believe in God?
Miss Liz, read the cover, all right? I believe in me. If I want something, I get up and get it. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I need money, I work. I don't have to rely on a God to help me win the Oscar for Best Picture of the Year, for instance, or to tell me what my destiny is. If there was a God who wanted to make himself known to me, he should have the power to come down and do that. And if he doesn't bother coming down to me, I'm not going to bother going up to him.
Oh. It's true that you've won a number of awards for your documentary, I Believe in Me, and it has raised many questions in the public eye regarding religion. Obviously, this is your intention.
Miss Liz, I'm simply a man in search of the answers, all right? Some people believe that God created the world. Others claim it was a big bang. One man's truth is another man's heresy. I just sit back and I say, hey, prove it to me, so I can believe it too. So far, no one has proved a thing. It's just theory and guesswork on both ends. So the way I figure, what does it matter?
That's an unusual conclusion. If you're looking for evidence and proof, do you ever turn to science for answers? Do you put your faith in scientific theories?
No, I don't put my faith in anything, all right? Since it's been proven to me that I am a great director, for instance, I will believe that. If someone could point to God the way that I could point to the sun and say, you cannot live without that, then maybe I'd consider it. But up till now, that just hasn't happened. So the idea of faith means absolutely nothing to me.
Can I ask you, what does matter to you? Where's your respect for history, advances in science, or even philosophy?
Now, why spend your whole life worrying about which came first, the chicken or the egg? Why spend the best years of your life freaked out about the end of the world? Can you do anything about it? The answer is no, Miss Liz. All right, and as far as history goes, I can't get to know Jesus or Moses or Buddha or any of those people because they're all dead. So what good are they going to do me? Live life for today. Hey, live life for today. That is the I believe in me philosophy.
Do you believe in any notion of the afterlife? Heaven or hell?
Right, the eternal party against the eternal prison option. Miss Liz, what do you take me for?
Mr. Picone, wow, it is time for common sense. You're a critic of all things. And though the truth has hit you in the face, somehow it's not meant for you. One of the main themes in your documentary is, if God really exists, he hasn't revealed himself to you. My question is, have you ever heard the cry of a newborn? Studied the human body, contemplated the Milky Way, wondered about the creation of a flower, smelt a rose. I wonder if you might let me propose a new storyboard for your next big budget film. Mr. Picone, an all-powerful king forms a battalion of troops to serve his kingdom. But, over time, the greatest soldier begins wondering why he should continue serving, since he is so powerful himself and has won so many battles and such popularity without the aid of the king. So finally comes the day when the soldier declares mutiny and leads a crusade against the palace. He's ready to declare certain victory when the majestic, astounding king steps out and shows his mighty face. With a wave of his arm of justice, the king calls out his militia, immediately conquering the rebellion, and exiles the defiant captain to a place of torment and despair in punishment for his pride.
Miss Liz, that's overdone. That's completely overdone. I need new ideas.
That's right. Mr. Picone, it has been done. Since the fall of the angels, the fall of Adam and Eve, right down to you. Your pride is blinding you to the real truth and the real power that you are dealing with. Yes, we've all seen this before. And honestly, I hope you open your eyes in time to rewrite your most inevitable demise. I'm Miss Liz, and that's Common Sense.
We live on planet Earth with, wow, 6 billion other people. And 10 million different species? That's crazy. We have clouds, a moon, and we revolve around the sun, just like 7 other planets. Sorry, Pluto. Some of them even have their own moons and rings, their own sizes and temperatures. This is mind-boggling. Who ever figured this stuff out? Our sun is a star. It is only one of 200 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And many of those stars could have planets orbiting them too. So we are one solar system of many in the Milky Way galaxy. Our Milky Way galaxy is one of billions of galaxies. We are able to see other ones. They each have millions of stars and planets. And the farthest we've ever seen into the universe is 13 billion light years. 13 billion light years? What does that even mean? Was I being too loud? Sorry. I just can't comprehend these numbers.
Trying to wrap your brain around the entire universe? I can see why you're overwhelmed. I mean, humans have been studying space for thousands of years, and we've discovered a lot, but there's still so much left to uncover. Don't feel bad if you can't figure out.
Why do people care? Why is this stuff even important? It has nothing to do with us.
Well, I don't think I agree with that. One of the most amazing things I ever learned about was the structure and location of the Earth. It's perfectly designed to support human life.
Okay, tell me. I'll just add it to this pile of information that doesn't make any sense.
The Earth is the only planet we know of that supports life. If it were a bit smaller, our stable atmosphere would be impossible, like on the planet Mercury. If it were a bit bigger, it would contain gases that we couldn't live with. Another thing is, it's the perfect distance away from the sun. If it were any closer, we'd burn up. And a little further away, we'd freeze. A slight difference, and life would be impossible.
Lillian, I definitely have not gotten to that chapter yet.
There's so much we have to learn about ourselves. It's humbling. We're not even close to understanding the details around Earth, let alone the universe. Think about our planet with all its creatures, or the complexity of our bodies and brains. There are creatures in the oceans that we are just now discovering. There's so much we have to learn about ourselves, and we're just a tiny speck in the universe. Learning about space has given us the ability to chart time on calendars and clocks, understand the tides and gravitational pulls,
Okay,
navigate
Einstein.
the seas.
Enough for one day. I get it. And it's amazing. But how about we limit our studies to Earth for now and forget about what lies beyond?
To be honest, to me, that kind of study's food for thought. I don't understand how people will see the universe with all its phenomenal mysteries being uncovered every day by science and think that it's a result of random accidents in evolution. To me, the evidence is clear. It has to have been designed and created. Someone must be responsible for its greatness and magnitude.
Wow. Our world is but a speck in this universe. Our planet is so small compared to what else is out there. And we can barely comprehend this tiny speck. Wow. God must be unbelievably powerful to have created all of it.
That's for sure. Only God could have put this together. The more we learn about its organization and design, the more proof there is. It had a creator. I refuse to believe that all this happened by chance. The creation of the universe is evidence that there is a God.
No argument here. But would you please help me out with these numbers? They're so complicated and hard, and there's so many of them. What is to do? It's just so many.
One day, Jesus was on a boat with his apostles. There arose a great storm, and the waves beat into the ship to the point that it was sinking. But Jesus was sleeping. His apostles woke him, saying, "Master, don't you care that we're dying?" So Jesus arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. The apostles were extremely afraid and said to one another, "What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" God became a man in order to reveal himself to his people. He told us all we needed to know, answered all our questions, then died to pay the price for our sins. Leading up to that day, we have a history that revolves around God's revelation of himself to humanity. Over and over again, he shows his power, his compassion, his mercy, and his wrath, proving to disbelieving nations how powerful he really is and how much he loves us. For us, today, the fullness of revelation is before our eyes. The power of God is undeniable. This is certain. God does not hide himself from someone who truly wants to find him. Look around you. All of creation sings his praise and glory. All that lives and moves testifies to his greatness, and by its very existence exalts the divine creator. You are his beloved child, the crowning glory of all of creation. And he is your God. Open your eyes to see who God is and realize who you are, that you may come to ask with the apostles, who is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?
And when Moses was chosen to bring God, Moses was chosen to bring God? Can I go from here?
Punished the people by confusing their language, so that people could no longer I could no longer understand myself. By confusing their language, so that people could no longer
Do you ever turn to science for answers? Do you put your face in... Do you put your face? Sorry, faith in science?
The eternal prison option against
I didn't know blah, 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 blah was an option.
That's purgatory.
Oh.